Hey, what's up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. There's three of us today. I'm Marques.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And we got three of us today because we're talking about a bunch of stuff. First of all, the iPhone 14 Pro review is now live on the channel. We can get into that a little bit. There it is. It's purple over there. We also have our first look at some of the stuff I predicted in that video, one of which is a little dynamic island on Android, kind of. Sort of.
A little
bit. We're also looking forward to a Google event, and then we're also going to wrap it up by talking to a few professionals that let us know what they think of the new Apple Watch Ultra. But first, a quick shout out to the hoodie. This is so long overdue. I'm so glad it's finally up. So Andrew's holding it. If you're a video watcher, you can see it. But the new MKBHD edition Chevron hoodie. People have been asking me where to get this thing for so long, so we finally went and just made the thing. So mkbhd.com is where you can get the thing. It's about to be hoodie season. I just checked the weather. There's like 6 more days of 80-degree days, and then it's going to start plummeting, and it's hoodie season.
So get
officially.
it fast, yeah.
And this is a warm one. It's good.
Yeah, I think funny story about this is like, this is based on the old avatar you used to have of an Amazon hoodie that you bought. But this quality is so much better.
Yeah, the Amazon one I got is literally like, I would wear it in the winter, but then I'd wear a jacket over it because it was the thinnest, cheapest material ever. So we basically just made a better version of the hoodie I've loved for so long.
There was a time where Brandon, Vin, and I, for a joke, wanted to dress up as you. So we all ordered the hoodie. We all ordered it from the same listing on Amazon, and we got 3 different companies. Like all of them had different tags. They were slightly different colors. Yeah, different quality.
Yeah.
Ironically, if you search, and I remember this being a thing for years, if you search MKBHD hoodie on Amazon, it comes up with the one that you always used to wear.
The cheap, crappy one?
Specifically the blue one, but I think they have multiple colors.
Yeah.
But I see people wearing these occasionally, and I'm like, there's no way you just randomly bought
Most of the reviews on that mention MKBHD.
Yeah. Well, this one is a great way to support the channel. It's also way better.
It's way better.
So I'm really pumped about that. But yeah, okay. So iPhone 14 reviews are out, at least ours. So there's iPhone 14s as well. I started with the 14 Pro, and it turns out to be the one that people are most interested in. And it also is easily the most interesting one because there's actually a couple new things about it. Those main 3 being internals, display, and cameras. So the general gist of it, to basically summarize, I mean, go watch their video. It's a 20-minute review of all this stuff, but the internals are a slight bump up. The cameras are a little bit of a bump up. And then the display is the most interesting part and the most unique and the thing that most people will notice about the phone. But honestly, if you have a phone from like the last 3 or 4 years and you get the iOS 16 update, that's most of the new experience right there. But I'm curious, you guys, David, you've tested the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Mm-hmm. I actually want to ask you specifically about one thing.
Okay.
Battery life?
Yeah.
How has your battery life been? And have you compared it to a previous Max phone?
Yeah, so the Pro Max is good battery life. Obviously, it lasts like almost 2 days. But last year, we did the same thing where you reviewed the Pro and I reviewed the Pro Max. Mm. And last year, it was a solid 2 straight days.
Yeah.
And I noticed that on this one, it was still good, but it died on the second day at like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Whereas last year, it died like at midnight on the second day, or like a little bit into the third day, which is crazy. It's still good, but
still really good.
I think that always on display is having a little bit of an impact, or the fact that the brightness gets up so high, especially outside.
Yeah, I think it's possibly 3 things. The third being the A16 Bionic is a little extra power hungry, and maybe that all those things combined mean you'll get slightly less battery. But yeah, the always on display, this is the one thing you can kind of see it now. It's like I've looked down at it so many times thinking my phone's still on.
Same.
And it's giving me notifications, a nice big bright time, and my widgets are updating and all that stuff. And it is very much the Apple way, but I prefer some other ways, to be honest.
I don't like that it feels like my phone is on all the time. We talked about this a little bit before, but the way that most Android phones do it, specifically Pixel, I really like the Pixel implementation, is that you just see the time and then a few icons for the apps that you have notifications on. Whereas Apple, intentionally, like you said in the review, it fades from being fully on to being kind of like really dim.
Like half on.
So you still see your wallpaper, which I don't like, because if I'm trying to go to sleep especially, and even the minimum brightness is like a little bit too bright when you're in a pitch black room,
Yeah.
it kind of illuminates.
Oh, do you use focus modes though?
So the thing about the sleep focus mode, I know that the always on display turns off when you go into sleep focus mode.
Yeah.
But my sleep focus mode always turns on at like 10 p.m. So I just turn it off, and then I always forget to turn it back
Oh, you
on
gotta
when
turn
I
it back
actually
on.
go to bed.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can push it back. You can make it turn on at like midnight or something.
Yeah.
Just as you're falling asleep.
But it
What is-
also just, it's uncomfortable feeling like my screen never turns off. I really hate that.
This
Yeah.
looks like it's on right now.
I
Like
know.
I
It does.
thought this
So
was
annoying.
on.
It does.
I don't know what I'm doing to make it actually
It
turn
basically,
on. But it's-
all you have to do is touch it. But it
Okay.
basically looks like when you turn your brightness all the way down on your lock screen, like that's on
yeah.
and that's always on. It's slightly different.
I don't
it's
like it.
slightly dimmer.
I'm also realizing right now, looking at it, is like at an angle, you can see there's a huge difference between the like digital not or like hole punch and where the actual cutouts are. And I totally see now why all the renders previously had the eye shape, because that's what it is. And the
Yeah.
pixels in the cutout are like, there's a lot of them
You
there.
can catch it from certain angles.
You can really like,
from the
it's
side.
crazy how
Yeah, yeah.
how much you can see that and how much of that is screen but not screen.
Yeah.
I think from straight on when you're using the phone,
You never
it
notice.
looks the best.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't notice this at the event when we were shooting it, and
Yeah.
now seeing it, I'm really noticing it.
You can also tell that the actual cutouts are not totally flush with the digital cutouts. And I heard that's because Apple had trouble creating exactly uniform notch cutouts on the original notch. And so now when they wanted to make a digital ring around it, there are actually more just black pixels surrounding the cutouts, so that
You can
if the
see it.
cutouts are not perfect, you still get a perfect digital circle.
It is a pretty consistent, nice pill-shaped thing.
Yeah.
And then the animations, all the things that it does. This is a part that I think we're gonna get into it in a second, but that we're gonna see copied a lot, which is all of the stuff that the dynamic island. I don't want to say that anymore. As just
You don't have
all the
to.
stuff that the pill does, all the animations that it does are really crisp and like precise and high frame rate and like friendly and alive and bouncy. And it's like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't think I would care about that at all. And honestly, most of the time you're using the phone, you're not touching it, you're not interacting with it, but you just notice it up at the top, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a nice thing that they did up there.
It's really friendly. It's
Yeah.
like it there's something that the Pixel does that makes it feel like the friendliest phone, and the animations that Apple added to Dynamic Island feel very like delightful.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the Pixel's always on display over, like when I go see the animation. Well, I don't have any notifications, but the animation that it does when it like fades down, brings the time in, and it'll like throw up the notifications right under the time. I like that better. I also really like OnePlus is always on display. This is my least favorite one, Apple's.
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
Am I in the
Minority.
not norm here that I just hate always on display for
So
everything?
I think you might be scarred from the previous Pixel, which would just wake up
Maybe.
all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I just
Slowly.
generally don't like it. I just miss my Note 8's notification LED. Like that was perfect
Well.
to me.
That's
A yellow flash for Snapchat, a blue flash for text, a green flash for emails. Like that's all I ever want.
I think you need to get the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III. The only phone shipping today that still has
Shipping today? Are
Yeah.
you sure about that?
Well,
Well, Mark IV is not shipping today.
yeah. the
I don't
Mark
know
IV will
what's
ship
shipping
someday.
anymore. Yeah.
One of the Sony phones, because they all have the notification LED,
Yeah.
and that's the only one I can think of that still does it. I think
Maybe
the Motorola.
Ace.
does.
Why would the new iPhone
Zenfone?
not have a
Zenfone, I think,
notification
might have
ID?
had
It has all the pixels there in the notch. Why can't they just brighten one of those pixels
That
as a
would have
notification
been
LED?
smart, actually.
I would
Or like
love
do that. Remember when
or any phone could do that.
Remember when the S10 came out and whenever it turned on the camera, it did that little digital ring animation around the circle?
Yeah.
Apple should really do that for this for notifications.
any phone
I bet
should
an
do
app
that.
will come out that does that. If Apple allows
Yeah.
it to. I
think-
know on the Pixel they allow you to like there's this really awesome battery health pixel circle. It goes
Yeah.
around the camera and it's like lit up only as much as your battery is for the ring.
Yeah,
Adam had that
I think
for a
we're going to
while.
see more people doing that to their Android phones that don't have it built into the software.
Yeah. I don't know if Apple will
I would
allow it.
love that as a lock screen thing though. Like on my lock screen, then just have that ring light up as different colors for notifications.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
I would love that. That's all I want in a
So when
always-on
you
display.
plug in the phone to charge, you do get a little animation. The pill extends and it shows you a circle with the battery percentage. And when you put your AirPods back in the case and close them, it shows you the battery percentage of your AirPods.
Yeah.
So it kind of does a lot of that stuff already. But I guess the point I was going to make is a lot of the first-party stuff already works because it's Apple stuff. And then third-party apps that don't use CallKit and now playing API will be able to come up with other cool things they want to do with the pill. But as of right now, like the podcast app I use, Pocket Cast works, Spotify works, all the stuff I typically use already works, which is great.
One thing that I found really cool is, and it's really, really small, but like when you are playing back media, say I'm playing the Vox Media show Today Explained, it's a yellow album art. So the waveform that plays next to it is also yellow.
Yeah.
It's like just a little like...
I haven't put that because when we did Waveform, it was red.
It's red.
Uh-huh.
And I realized it matched, but I guess I just assumed the default was red.
Yeah,
and I haven't
no.
tried a different one.
The
so
default's
that's
black,
pretty cool.
or
Whatever
white or
media,
something.
if
It
you
would be
play a
white, I
song,
guess,
it just matches the album art of the song.
It's so cool.
That's really neat. I mean,
Just like
it's just,
little
again,
things.
nice little things they added into it. I mean, what they did, I saw someone describe it on Twitter really well, is like, Apple's using its software to make the hardware limitations feel really good. And
it's
that's
a gradient and everything. I pulled up the Graduation album from Kanye West. It's not just a purple waveform.
Let's
It's like
turn
a
Kanye West
purple
on.
and
Like
bright,
across the
like
album.
gradient waveform. Yeah,
That's so awesome.
all
it's
of
really
it.
nice.
It's such
Good.
a little, again, it's like there's just these little things that make it feel delightful. And I know that Apple has been working on this for many years, and they even put a dedicated display engine just for the notch area,
Yeah.
which they definitely want, because I think they really want to make sure that you don't have like a glitchy notch, because that would ruin the whole experience. Like you said, Andrew, trying to make that hardware feel more like software, because if you can make people believe that the notch area is just a cool extra software display, they'll forget that the hardware even exists. And I
Yeah.
think that's the point.
Yeah, I think probably somewhere someone at Apple looked at the pill before they did this, and they were like, "That looks kind of like a hack. The hole punch. We got to do something about it, make it look better."
Yeah.
And then this whole project was born. Okay, I have a question for you guys about this. You saw on Twitter there was like a Xiaomi mod of like a MIUI, a MIUI
MIUI, yeah.
like notification thing. It kind of looked like the dynamic island, but it didn't like actually touch the selfie cutout.
Yeah.
Which company will be the first to actually copy the dynamic island in their own software?
Oppo.
Oppo. I could see that.
Oppo ships features so fast.
I could see that. They're probably working on a phone right now.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, "Yep, we're shipping that with
They've
the
probably
phone."
been working on it since the leaks came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you bet money on a different company?
Well, when we talked about this at the Apple event, I said Samsung, but then someone tweeted at me saying how like Samsung is so adamant about making reachability a thing, and how like they make all their software to be like pull down. So now I don't think it's going to be Samsung, although I don't know if it would totally stop them from doing it. Also, the one thing about the MIUI ones, there's two. There was one that's not connected because it was a left-facing hole punch, but they had another one on a different Xiaomi phone with a center hole punch that
really?
actually did come out and looks
That's
really
already
nice.
safe.
But again, people were tagging us. That was like theme developers, not actually
Yeah.
Xiaomi doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
So our predictions are still out there. These still could happen. Oppo's a great pick, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if Samsung would do it.
I'm going Xiaomi.
Xiaomi.
I'm going to go with Xiaomi. I think
Xiaomi the money.
we just see that happen in their communities, and then they go with their next phone. Yeah, I guess you guys like that, so here's an option.
can
It'll
see
be
it.
way more optional. They'll give us customization and actual options, but that's my prediction.
I saw someone saying that I disagree with that. Android's focused on eliminating the whole bunch, while Apple's focused on making it into a software thing. Why would they do that? And the simple answer there is that it's way cheaper and way easier to put software around a hole punch than it is. We've seen a couple under display cameras. They're rough.
Yeah, and
trust
also
me,
Android is like 30 companies, and they're all
Well, yeah.
doing different stuff. But yes, there's a concerted effort by a bunch of them at the highest end to get rid of the hole punch.
I think
Those are the
everyone would-
expensive phones.
Everyone would like to get rid of the hole punch.
Yeah.
Just the limit is there right now, and they haven't figured that out yet. So I'm sure eventually Apple will ditch that and not have dynamic island, but we're a long time away from
Apple
that.
is really good at taking hardware limitations and making them fashion, because they turned
That's deep.
Yeah, well, they turned the notch into a fashionable thing. It's how you knew that you had the new iPhone. It was the signifier that said, I have the new iPhone. Yeah. And then what did they do with the notch? They put it in the MacBook, and it doesn't even use Face ID.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm staring at one right now.
Exactly.
On the top of this computer.
It's another way that they're like, I have the new best thing.
Yeah.
And now they're doing it with the island.
So how long till there's a dynamic island on the laptop? I don't want to put that into the world. I don't want to put that into the world. That's a little too far ahead.
It would have to be touchscreen, right?
Oh, true.
Well, no.
I feel like it would not be
It could just be a
worth
notification
without-
center. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
It could just pop in.
You never
Well,
know.
I think we're going to see the dynamic island for a long time on the highest end iPhones for a little while, because Face ID is Face ID.
That is an interesting thing, though. If they're going to put that much work into this, it's probably going to last a few generations, which means we're probably not going to see a full screen iPhone for at least like 4 more years.
Yep. I agree. As unfortunate as that is.
Before or after 2030?
2030? You could see it before 2030.
Before 2030?
But if you said
Yeah.
2025,
Okay, how about this?
Oh.
Both models, the lower Model 2, totally full screen iPhone before 2030. Because right now, we definitely are seeing a trend of Pro models are getting
It's only-
things quite a bit
after.
After 2030?
after
Yeah, because
2030.
they're more than ever, and I'm going to talk about this in the iPhone 14 review. More than ever, they like to separate the Pro iPhone with the non-Pro iPhone to
60
give you
hertz.
more reasons, more because the mistake they made earlier was not making them different enough, and people would just go with the cheaper phone. So now they're like, okay, it's an extra camera, it's the dynamic island, it's the ProMotion, and it's the new chip, and now they look different, they feel different. I think they would keep a full screen iPhone more expensive and a non-full screen iPhone less expensive for
How long, though?
many years.
Really? Many years?
I think so.
How long do you think it's going to be until the cheaper iPhone has dynamic island?
I want to know that too.
I would guess 1 year.
As soon as the most expensive iPhone has graduated from dynamic island.
What? No way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's the Apple move, right?
It only took like 1 year for the because iPhone 8, iPhone 10 came out at the same time, right?
Yep.
iPhone
Yep.
10 was the only one that had the notch. The next year, the XR, which was the cheaper one, had the notch.
Okay, so think about what iPhone SE is doing in the background. We've got this old iPhone 8 body, and when we're expecting the next iPhone SE, which I think will be next year, we're expecting that to graduate to the 10R, which is the notch, but it's the like rounded, not squared off phone. So they've got rounded, not squared off phone with a notch, square phone with a notch, and then dynamic island. When they move up one, all of the rest can move up with it. So when the highest end phone goes to totally notchless, then they can move up the mid-range phone to dynamic island, and they can move up the SE phone to squared off sides.
Wouldn't that just be more reason that next year the cheaper iPhone will have dynamic island because they are moving up the mid-range one to dynamic island?
Well, they won't move it up until the highest end one moves up out the way.
I have a middle ground
Okay.
where I disagree with both of you. I don't think it'll be next year, but I don't think it'll. I agree with you that it needs to create some sort of separation. I think we're so far away from totally full screen that there will be some other feature the Pro gets that the normal one doesn't have, and then the one under, then the 14 or the base model will get dynamic
So the
island.
Pro will have 2 years of
I don't know, 2
standalone
years.
hardware?
Let's say like USB-C, portless, something extra that the top one gets. USB-C is
A pipe dream.
it's not a pipe dream.
No, they
it's an
have to do it.
example of something. So like it's something new that it will get the bottom one doesn't get.
But they
and
legally-
then it'll get it.
I think they legally have to make
USB-C
all
is
that.
a funny
It's the-
example
it's
because
across the-
they probably have to do all USB-C across the board at the same
Okay,
time.
bad example.
If they had
But
the
if-
option, they would put it only on the Pro
They
next
would.
year.
They would.
They
For
would. Just like the
sure.
iPads.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what's
exactly.
the iPad situation right now? We have iPad Air and iPad Pro are USB-C, and all the cheaper iPads are still Lightning. Why?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Like
the
that-
baseline iPad is still Lightning.
The Mini is C though, right?
The Mini, I think, is also still Lightning. Let me check.
I don't- but
Let me
I-
double check.
I guess what I'm saying is the Pro will get a new feature that the normal doesn't have, and then the normal, I think, is allowed to get one of those features. Whether
Oh, like one of them.
I think it'll be Dynamic Island. I wish it was ProMotion because it's still absurd that there's an $800 phone with 60 hertz, but I do think they screwed themselves over by calling
Yeah.
it ProMotion. So
Oh, absolutely.
it'll probably only ever be
Oh
in
yeah,
the Pro.
But that was the other question I was going to ask. Is like, okay, before or after 2030 where we get a 120 hertz non-pro iPhone.
If they like, it's at the point where we've talked about it for so long, we've just stopped worrying about it. Like, I just don't think they're gonna do it, and it's sad.
They might
but
just
like
get
at
rid
a
of the
certain
name
point,
ProMotion.
maybe I
they'll
could
just
see
get
that.
rid of that before they put it on the cheaper phone.
But they always in the back of their head will have something that they want to keep separate for the
For
pros.
sure,
Yeah.
100%.
They've got to have
Maybe
enough of a
LTPO?
list. Yeah, I mean, it's still like a big difference using the two different phones. I think they want to keep the experiences noticeably different. Also, I've looked it up. The Mini does have USB-C, but
Okay.
I believe I'm going to check the standard iPad. I think it's still Lightning.
iPad for education.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Oh,
it
the
is.
baseline
education one, I
iPad.
could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's probably Lightning. So they can sell Lightning connectors to schools.
it is still Lightning. So why?
Damn. Taking advantage of the teachers.
So anyway, I think they're gonna keep the iPhone Pros as far from the non-Pros as possible, and I don't think we get a full screen of both the Pro and non-Pro at the same time.
All right. We will write down these bets after the podcast.
Yeah, that's a lot
It's
of
a
bets.
1-year bet.
It's a lot going on.
1-year bet.
Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, stay tuned for the iPhone 14 review. I'll try to succinctly wrap up all these thoughts that I have about the way Apple repackages things. But we do have a headline here now. I still don't know how inside baseball this is or how early this is to judge.
I think it's early to judge, and that's why I want to talk about it.
Okay, so the headline is from Mac Rumors, and it's quote unquote Ming-Chi Kuo saying the iPhone 14 Plus pre-orders are worse than the iPhone 13 mini, therefore the product strategy has failed.
Or does the Mini just rock?
Well, okay. I have some thoughts. I mean, I already love, a lot of people know that the Mini is very popular in a small group. It's like the vocal minority, classically. Yeah. To see the iPhone 14 Plus pre-orders being even worse than the 13 Mini suggests that it's doing pretty bad. But also, first of all, the 14 Plus doesn't come out for another month.
Yeah.
That's going to impact pre-order numbers, obviously, when people go to a store or realize that their carrier is going to let them pre-order and they can't get the iPhone 14 Plus. That's going to hold it back. But two, I don't know. Pre-orders to me feel like a little bit more bleeding edge than what the masses eventually get. And I think the masses are going to get the 14 Plus. They're not pre-ordering phones, but they're just going to go into the store and see the bigger, cheaper phone and get it. And that's why I think it's not a failure yet.
And on top of, like you said, pre-orders are for bleeding edge. Most people aren't going to pre-order the 14 because it's basically just a 13.
Yeah.
And also the 13 is still available for sale for $100 less.
What's going to happen this holiday season? There's going to be a bunch of carrier deals. There's going to be a bunch of people being like, oh, I'm still on an iPhone 8. I should probably get my son or daughter a new iPhone. And then they go to the carrier and they're like, oh, this is the newest one, but it's also like the cheapest. Here you go.
Yeah.
They're going to sell a ton just because it is there.
When it's just the new iPhone in a carrier store, these numbers change completely. And I do think that's when the Plus will outsell the Mini because people might be like, I want the newest one. Oh, that's the cheapest? I can spend a little bit more for the bigger one.
Yeah.
And
Bigger
then-
screen.
And the Mini
Boom.
came out at the same time as the others last year.
Yep.
Like this, we can't do this analysis
Way
yet.
too early.
Yeah,
Way
it's
too
too
early,
early.
guys. So I believe that the numbers are lower now, but I don't think that you can say it's a failure yet.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We got a bunch more to talk about, including some other companies. So let's be right back. Oh, right. I forgot. Oh, don't we have a new thing happening too with trivia?
Oh.
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Not
we
yet?
know
That's just for the
that.
answers?
Oh, yeah.
We'll save it for the end.
We'll save it.
All right.
Get hype.
But the question, of course, Ellis, how
Cecilian.
could I forget?
I don't know. How could you forget, Mark?
I was just so amped to move on to Google
It's
stuff.
an exciting week. We've got all these new toys in the office. You know, there's a lot on our mind. But
Yeah.
I do have some good trivia for us this week. All right. In June of 2021, Apple began offering the ability to stream lossless audio via Apple Music. Which model of AirPods are able to play Apple lossless audio?
2021.
Alice just complained about this to me the other day, so I'm very
Complaining about
excited.
it all week.
Man.
If you guys actually listened.
If-
I listen.
Wait, if Alice
Okay.
is complaining,
yeah, then
that-
it's not the obvious one.
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Noted. All right.
Who's to say?
We'll come back after the break. This episode of Waveform is brought to you by Indeed. When it comes to hiring, you can't just trust your gut. If you want to find top talent fast, Indeed can help. So Indeed is a platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Start your search with their suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. So with Instant Match, you can sponsor a job, and then boom, you get a list of candidates whose resumes fit your description immediately after you post. And you can invite them to apply right away. So the right candidate is doing everything they can to find you. Indeed wants to help you do everything you can to find them too. Indeed says that when you're doing everything for your company, you can't afford to overspend on hiring. So you can visit Indeed.com/Waveform to start hiring now. That's Indeed.com/Waveform. Indeed.com/Waveform. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, welcome back. We have Google's October 6th event on our doc to talk about today.
Do you want me to? I wrote this up, so I think.
What are
let me
we
explain what I
this?
want to talk about.
I don't know if I have anything to talk about.
I think there's a couple interesting points about this. First of all, October 6th is the official date, which is like the new thing that we did get from last episode.
Okay.
It's in Brooklyn. I believe it's a live event, right? Is this actually going back to live?
It's in Brooklyn.
That's a good question. I don't know.
The rumors say live. I'm not sure if you got an invite yet. I'm not sure if you're allowed to talk about an invite yet.
I don't know anything. I don't have an invite. I don't know about invites, and I don't know anything about the event.
Interesting. The rumor is that it's a live event, whether that's like hybrid live like Apple's doing, which I kind of like because I love the pre-produced stuff, but I also like going in the show floor and hands-on experience and stuff like that. So we'll see about that.
Wait, can we talk about that?
Sure.
I really, as a consumer and an enthusiast about tech, I love the pre-produced video. I love watching it. I enjoy like the presentation of the features and how well they're able to like succinctly wrap everything together. But as someone who's taking notes and has to make a video and remember all the specs and everything that's happening, I much prefer the live event in which you have time because people have to breathe and walk off stage and walk back on stage and like actually say things instead of just a drone whizzing to the next thing by the time you're writing down. You know what I mean? Like it's actually easier to take notes and handle a live event as a press member.
You know what's crazy is like if you think back to just pre-2020, everything changed in 2020 when all these pre-produced videos started happening. Everything before that, from the very first Apple like iPhone event up until 2019, was basically a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
So they
it's
had
keynote. It's like literally just a slideshow.
Keynote. They had like individual project managers that would come up and say, "We're proud to announce this." Clap, 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 clap. It is really great because it has this feature. Clap, 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 clap. And you had time to like type
and then they
down
did
things.
like, let me do a live demo. And then they roll out a table. And then they go, here are the products. And then let's start the demo.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I'm using the product here. And you're like, yes, okay, how does this work? But in the produced video,
it's just like boom, boom,
it's
boom.
like, it's just quick.
Yeah.
It's really quick.
It's so fast. It's just like feature, 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 feature.
So I can appreciate both, but I don't know what I want from the Google event. I really don't know.
I think you should learn how to type faster.
I type pretty fast. It's just like I'm typing my notes and I'm tweeting. Like, okay, here's my workflow of an Apple event from the audience, right? We were going to like try to vlog this a little bit. I was like, I promise you I'll be locked in. I won't be able to vlog. Okay, I've got my laptop in front of me. The event starts. I have Twitter open on one side because I live tweet the thing. And I have my notes open. And I have a live feed of the keynote playing in the background on maybe like a 15-second delay, 20-second delay.
Oh, that's actually a benefit.
So when the thing gets announced on stage, first thing I do is live tweet if I don't need an image. If I do need an image, I will see the thing happen on stage and take a picture of it. And if that's too late, if I miss it, then I'll switch over to the tab with the video playing, take a screenshot because I know exactly when it's going to happen, then put that in my tweet. While all that is happening, I also need to take notes for the video later, so I need to make sure I get all of my numbers and facts and specs straight while I'm also reacting and giving my feelings on Twitter. So there's like three brains happening at once.
For 2 hours.
For a long time in a row. And then often they sort of move on so quickly from something that I'm still reacting and haven't written down the number yet, and I'm trying to remember the number while I'm reacting, and then the next thing's happening, and it's a lot.
It's chaos.
It's a lot. So I guess what I'm saying is as a journaler, MKBHD really wants it to be like a live presentation, but then it won't be like a cool video. I guess Google's videos weren't that cool.
Google never really makes the like hype videos.
They kind of make their videos basically slideshows.
Something that I noticed is like the videos that Google shows off on stage are generally their TV ads.
Yeah, Apple does the ad at like the end of the product presentation, and Google will do it like
Google throws like
most of it.
the same videos that they have in the presentation they put on TV.
It's like rather than a drone shot transition, they're doing the like beauty B-roll transition of the product and then talking about it like a stage event, where Apple's like showing way more, and then they have their own transition.
They've got this sort of pseudo formula where there's a new product. It'll be like higher up executive going, we really think a lot about this product category. That's why I'm excited to show you the newest thing. And then they'll pass it to an executive who's in charge of that exact division. And then they'll be like, we're proud to introduce new product name. And then you'll get like a splashy 30-second epic video, right? With like shadows and it coming out of water or something crazy. And then it'll come back to that executive and they'll do the keynote. And then before the price, they'll dive back into the commercial. We see the commercial. We come back to the executive. They go, it will start at this price and it'll be available on this date. Back to you, executive. And they go back up to the top. I promise that's exactly the format of the last like 5 Apple announcements in this exact way. But yeah, in the Google way, it's more of here's a cool thing. Here's how it works. Here's some slides. I can rock with that. That's like a nice hybrid.
Yeah. And then they usually have like a product specialist or the engineer that designed the thing like come up and talk about like the engineering problems around it, whereas Apple would never do that.
Well, somehow Apple has a unlimited amount of excellent presenters that also worked on the products. It's kind of unreal.
We were joking that like the turnover must be insane because I've never seen the same executives on stage except for like Phil Schiller and like the main guys. But like for the product managers, it's always a different product manager.
I see head of product for a while. Like the head of the iOS people are the same every time. The Mac people are the same every time. Or like the same couple of people. Like Craig is head of software. You'll see him in the Mac events. But yeah, they just go from person to person. And that was the other thing I tweeted in the middle of the event. I was like, I don't know how they're capturing audio. It seems too perfect. It's like kind of way too good. Where's the microphones? Are they doing this like dubbed over in post? What's happening here? And I had an Apple executive come up to me in the hands-on area like, hey, by the way, all the audio is live. And I was just like, dude, how?
2,000
Where's the mic, dude? I need to know.
Not just where's the mic. They're in a giant empty room. It should be massively echoey.
It should be reverb. They're outside sometimes, and they're just in the middle of a desert, and they're talking, and it's like, how is there no wind or anything? Nothing's like messing up your audio. It's perfect every time. The presenters are like calmly speaking fluently to the camera every time. And that's just not true about every company. That's just facts.
Yeah.
So Apple's got unlimited great presenters. That's what I learned.
And money.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Google event.
Google.
What are we expecting from Google?
Well, so one thing that I find really interesting is we always make jokes about how Google leaks everything, and they basically have been doing their own leaks.
Yeah.
But then I went to go look at what we know about the Google event, and I know like nothing. So has their leaking?
Don't we know everything?
We know it's a Pixel 7. We know what it looks like. Do we know anything else about it?
Well, that's all there is to know. They just have to give us a price.
We could have special features.
No, there's plenty of
but
stuff.
Software features don't really leak.
I mean,
Software features
specs
don't
and
leak.
stuff like that. Like
all the stuff that could leak has leaked. Which
I don't know about that. I feel like we've gone into Pixel events or other Android events with way more knowledge than this one.
Also, remember at the Google event last time at I/O when they showed off the like future glasses thing? Like no one had heard anything about that.
But that wasn't real.
They were testing it.
Oh, they can internally test all they want, but they weren't going to like build a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't
when
a product.
Yeah, when stuff leaks, I guess you're like, oh, you're going to a supply chain, you're
Going
getting
to
it
the
approved by
FCC.
the FCC, all that stuff. So
True.
So when, like, for example, Apple's going to have an event, the September event, we all kind of know what roughly we're going to get. I think it's going to be an iPhone, probably a watch, and whatever. But like, then we find out in person. So when the Google event rolls up, it's going to be like, all right, we're going to make a new Pixel phone. It's going to have the next generation Tensor chip. It's going to be called the Pixel 7. Here's what it looks like. And we're all going to sit there like, yeah, we already knew all of this, actually.
Yeah.
And so all they have to do is tell us a couple software features they worked on
Yeah.
and price. And that's
But
it.
the tagline is it's all coming together this fall, and I know that probably means we are
Ecosystem.
building out our ecosystem, which is probably specifically a reference to the watch, and maybe they will show more about the tablet that's coming out early next year, especially because there have been a lot of updates to Android recently to make tablets a lot better. However, maybe we'll see another hardware product that we weren't expecting as part of an ecosystem.
Is it possible that Google has made a hardware product and not had it leak?
That's the
Is it possible?
billion-dollar question.
It could happen.
Yeah.
It could happen.
I feel like they released the Pixel Buds Pro kind of early. Like, it would have made sense for them to just release
I'm
them
surprised
with a giant ecosystem.
It's not in here, especially if, like you said, the tagline's coming together this fall.
Yeah, it's
I figured it
all
would be
coming
everything.
together.
I mean,
What, a
there's some
watch?
rumors of
Okay.
a new Nest. Nest camera and
Oh, yeah. True. That's true. That's true.
and a new
Smart home.
Chromecast
Okay, that could be
HD
a
good
as
point.
well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Chromecast HD.
Because when
Yeah.
you say it's all coming together, it's got to be more than two.
It's
right?
going to be a lot of smart home stuff, I
Yeah.
think, and how they can all maybe connect better together. And I mean,
think-
like, they want a drive home ecosystem.
I think Google is really leaning into like the smart home ambient stuff. Like
They're way better at it and
they're
more
way
into
ahead.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm working on a video about this too, but like, yeah, the Nest doorbell. I mean, yeah, new speaker, new doorbell, new camera.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. it's all
Nest
coming together.
Audio, maybe a new Nest Hub Max or Nest Hub.
Yeah. What do you want out of a new Nest Hub? Because like I have the Nest Hub Max. The screen is okay. Maybe I'd like it to be a little more responsive and faster, but like I don't touch it that often. I yell at it across the room and ask for timers and weather. What would you want out of a brand new Nest Hub Max other than faster? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they already
New
have like
design?
they already have Soli. In
I want a
it.
better design somehow.
Like,
Nest Hub
yeah,
Max
more
would be so
edge to
sick if it was
edge,
a
I guess.
picture frame somehow. Like,
Oh, like if it
It
was
is.
like a
imagine that.
Samsung
No,
frame.
like one that you hang on your wall and can like hide the wire.
Oh,
Like,
that would be
how sick! Like the Samsung frame as Nest
the
Hub Max.
frame
That's-
TV, but a Nest Hub.
That
That'd
would be
really cool.
pretty intense. I think it would limit how many people could get it.
True. I
they
mean, but
want
if
it
it's the
in
Nest
every-
Hub Max, I think.
They want this thing in every kitchen in the world, I think. Like plug it into the wall, put it on the counter, boom.
Yeah, they still have Nest Hub Mini and all that stuff for
Yeah.
other rooms.
they're
But one
yeah.
that could be like the screen that's somewhere in your main living room or in your kitchen or something like that, I think looks way nicer. I still think the original Google Home's the best looking Google like home
The
Nest
air freshener
home.
Air
looking one?
freshener.
It's because it actually fits with other things.
It
Yeah,
does.
it's really
Yeah.
casual. And
This is
it's
the-
all ambient versus like imaging too.
This is the biggest problem I have with my new routers. This is super side note into the weeds, but I got so I was using a Google Wi-Fi mesh system, the
Yeah.
routers for like a month, and I was like, I don't know, I'm paying for pretty fast internet, and I'm just straight up not getting it. I wonder if there's like a better router solution out there. And the Wi-Fi things, the little pucks, also are Google Assistant hubs, so you can ask it questions. It's a little speaker on the bottom, which is cool. And it plugs into the Google Home app and everything. But then I read all these reviews about this Netgear Orbi system. There's a bunch of really good ones. I got one of the higher end ones. The thing is 5 times the size of a Google Home puck. It is unbelievably obtrusive and ugly.
Oh wow.
And I get amazing internet speed. So like I don't want to not use it anymore because it's the best internet speeds
for like
I've ever had.
universities where you hang them from the ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sits looking like an eyesore at every spot. I have 3 of them. One's in the garage, one in each spot. I don't know. But I got my first 1 gigabit per second down
Over
test.
Wi-Fi?
Over Wi-Fi. I was like, I can't switch back. I was getting like 250 from the Nest, which is like really good, but I'm paying for 900.
Yeah.
So that was my
I would do that
bummer.
just for it to not look as good for sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
like
think
fast
that
Wi-Fi.
I think that overall the Google event is going to be leaning more into ambient stuff, like home stuff, and like just being able to make ambient more part of your world. And in fact, I'm going to make a hot take. I think a big part of Tensor 2 is going to try to be enabling more ambient features throughout your entire Google ecosystem. Because that was sort of the whole point of Tensor 1 in the first place, was like better speech to text and
Speech to text.
speech detection in general.
Yeah.
I think they're going to try to take that to the next step because that's their master plan. We all know that.
Yeah.
So,
That would make sense. So is that the theme officially? It's all coming together?
yeah.
You know how disappointed I was when Far Out from Apple didn't have any astrophotography? I'm hoping Google delivers on this one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do you want to do a couple Pixel 7 speculations, like price or maybe like one random feature
Stuff that they
we
haven't
don't
announced.
think. Yeah.
Okay.
Price is up. Let's do price first.
Price.
Same.
Okay. So there's going to be a 7 and a 7 Pro.
Mhm.
We were pretty sure. How about Tensor 2 Pixel 7 is $699
Ooh,
and 7 Pro is $899. How about that?
so more expensive.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like they're still undercutting some stuff.
Yeah, I think last year everyone liked the price of the Pixel 6, but not the Pro because you didn't get that much more in the Pro at all.
Right.
A lot of people complained about the $899 price. I think either they're going to do $599 and $849 or $599 and $799. I could see $799 because a $300 delta is massive.
It's gigantic.
It needs
A
to get
$200
closer.
delta is more acceptable. The iPhone only does a $100 delta. On the
Okay,
size
yeah. So
differences.
what's the difference going to be between Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro? They're going to have the same Tensor chip.
Telephoto camera?
Or are they? Oh, wait a second.
No, they'll both be Tensor 2.
They'll both be Tensor 2?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to talk
'Cause in
about
the-
like how everyone's going to start copying Apple and
I
putting
don't-
the lower end silicon in the new
I don't,
phone.
because even the 6A has Tensor 1.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be rough.
I think Google will just put Tensor in everything.
Okay, so they have the same chip.
Yeah.
Do they have the same primary camera?
Yes.
So you get maybe no telephoto
That's
in the
Yeah.
smaller one? Okay.
that's the case right now, I think.
Smaller flat screen, lower refresh rate, smaller battery. Is that enough? That's not $300.
That's what it was last
That was
year,
the
yeah.
problem.
So do they have to
Not
add
even remotely.
some new feature to the Pro or take something out of the smaller one? What do they do to, or do they just lower the price of the Pro? I don't know. It seems like they're too
I
far
think
apart
they'll
in
lower
price.
the price of the Pro. I think it'll be $799 or $849, and that the low one will stay at $599 because everyone loved that price and it moved units.
It was a really good price. Okay,
It
so lower the
moved
price
units.
of the Pro.
Yeah.
I like that better. I like that better than my prediction. Let's go with that.
Okay.
$599 again and nice little
$799.
price drop.
I can see a $200 delta, but $300 was way too
300
much.
is way too big.
Yeah. Even though I'm still using the Pixel 6 Pro. Well, I say still. I switched back to it like a month ago or something.
Oh.
What else do we not know about the Pixel 7s yet? Battery size,
I
wireless
mean, we pretty much
charging.
just have
It's
like a
just
picture of the
software.
back, right?
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
different on the front
I
this
guess-
year? Hole punch under display.
No.
We haven't seen anything.
Not expecting much. Yeah, I'm expecting hole punch again.
I hope the build quality is a little bit better.
better fingerprint reader would be nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty slow.
I like and don't like the new bump on the back. I like that it's metal and it has like a contrast, but I hate that it has circles for the camera
holes are
cutouts.
massive,
I
yeah.
don't like the holes
They're
in
really
it at
weird.
all.
The
I
eye
think it's
shape.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to see cool new ambient stuff that we're not expecting. So who knows? Would be great.
Ambient computing.
Yeah. ...
Sundar walks on stage. Here at Google, with my sweet jacket, we've been talking a lot about how to be the most helpful company in the world. And it's all finally coming together. Take it away, Rick. Good morning. Anyway, okay. That's pretty much it. That's our Google predictions.
What does Rick say? Does he have a catchphrase?
I don't think no.
When I was at Motorola.
He does. I mean, he does have a vibe, but I don't think he has a catchphrase.
Yeah, he's got a vibe.
I like Rick's vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick is my favorite in-person presenter.
Just like, yeah, he's fantastic.
He's
He's
great.
just like super passionate, and you
him
can
and
tell.
Craig.
You can
Him
tell
and
it's
Craig
not-
have the same like dad energy. I think.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's true. They could be next door neighbors.
easily.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Like
and
Palo
they just
Alto.
like waving their phones over the fences, like this phone's better than yours. Well, that's pretty much it. We do have another trivia question before our break, and then we're gonna actually come back and talk to some professional athletes about their thoughts on Apple Watch Ultra. These are people who haven't used the Watch Ultra, but who have witnessed the event just like we have,
Yeah.
and have reactions to it as well. I play sport. I run and bike a little bit, but I play ultimate frisbee, and I'm thinking about the watch purely in terms of ultimate. But obviously, there's a bunch of different sports in their videos. You have diving, mountain biking, all this stuff. That it would be really cool to talk to people who actually do that heavily. So
Yep.
we'll talk to them after the break. But before we get there, one more trivia question.
All right, so for this next trivia question, we're going to take a trip down EV lane. So, before Ford got in the way, What was the Tesla lineup supposed to spell out?
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh, we
We
know.
all know this.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
Andrew? We all
those
know
are pretty
this.
No, I know this one. Well, I'm confused by the wording of the question.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
still spells it out.
It kind of spells it. Whatever.
Okay.
All right, we'll get back to it. This episode of Waveform is brought to you by Wealthfront. So there's so much going on in the economy right now, it can make your head spin, and what's more frustrating is the fact that there seems to be no solution in sight. All I know is that you want your money to be safe, and Wealthfront wants to help provide you with a sense of security. Wealthfront is an app that helps you save and invest your money. Right now, you can earn 2% APY with the Wealthfront cash account. That's 20 times more interest than if you left your money in a savings account at an average bank. And getting a cash account is easy. It just takes a few minutes to sign up. And once you're signed up, you can immediately start earning 2% interest on your savings. Plus, if you open an account today, you'll get an extra $50 bonus with a deposit of $500 or more. And there are already nearly 500,000 people using Wealthfront to save more, earn more, and build long-term wealth. So why wait? Earn 2% on your cash today. Visit wealthfront.com/wave to get started. That's wealthfront.com/wave. This high interest good news has been a paid endorsement from Wealthfront.
All right, we're back. Now we're going to do something kind of different, kind of interesting, kind of fun. So in the Apple Watch Ultra presentation that they showed off at the event, they specifically called out 3 key extreme sports / features that they think that the Apple Watch Ultra can actually replace dedicated hardware for. Those 3 extreme sports were running, like ultra marathon running and extreme running, diving, which I think they kept using the term recreational diving is what they kept saying over and over again. I think they wanted to make sure that it's not going to go insane.
We also want Ultra to be a great tool for recreational scuba divers.
And then also like mountaineering. So extreme mountain climbing. Well, not I keep saying the word climbing. It's not climbing like this with your arms going up and down for the listeners, but hiking
Hiking a mountain. Yeah.
hiking, yes.
Yeah.
Going up a mountain.
Going up
That
a
takes
mountain.
long time.
Ascending.
Yes.
Ascending and descending.
Well, hopefully descending. Yes.
Well, yeah.
Jeez.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So
So
you have the SOS feature.
Exactly.
exactly. So yeah. So I went out and I talked to 3 people that do these more extreme sports. So which one do you guys want to start with? We got the swimming, diving.
I'm least familiar with the water sports. Maybe we start there. The diving stuff.
Yeah, I want to hear mountaineering the most. I also know who you interviewed for running, and he's
Yeah.
awesome. So let's start scuba, and then
Okay. So we interviewed Danny, and he is a scuba instructor off the coast of Italy.
My name is Danny. I'm a scuba diving instructor, and I'm working on the island of Sardinia in Italy at the moment as a guide and diving instructor.
Which is really sick. He told us that he actually dives like twice a day.
Sounds like a fun
That's
job.
awesome.
Yeah, he dives twice a day. So he was overall extremely excited about this watch. He uses 4 different diving watches / computers right now.
At the same.
No, not at the same time.
Okay.
Just like for different use cases, depending on what he's doing.
Okay.
But he said that his most common watch that he uses right now is a Sunto watch.
I dive every day, multiple times a day, and I would use it 100%. The one I have right now is a dive watch from a company called Sunto, which is pretty famous in diving. And the battery lasts, is not with any color or anything. So the battery lasts, I don't know, 1 year and a half.
And the Sunto has a battery life of 1 year, which is pretty crazy.
That's pretty good.
But of all of the different features that the Apple Watch had, he said it could pretty much replace everything that the Sunto did for him except for the battery life,
Okay.
which is pretty awesome. And for people that don't know specifically, the Apple Watch Ultra has all of these different diving features. It's rated for up to 40 meters for recreational diving, which is actually the limit for recreational diving before you get into technical diving. And then Apple says it is also water resistant down to 100 meters, which is like pretty far into the technical diving stuff. I specifically asked him, what do you need for this kind of stuff? And is there anything that the Apple Watch couldn't do that you would need to use something different for?
Yeah.
And he said that it can almost do everything because it has stuff like decompression time. It will, they worked with this diving app company that already has an app on the iPhone, but now it's going to be on the Apple Watch called Oceanic Plus.
Yeah. They were in the keynote.
They were in the keynote, yeah. The diving computers that people are using right now, The UIs are pretty awful, and they're these big, hunky, even bigger than the Apple Watch looking devices on their wrist. But he said basically the only thing that it can't do is the hardcore diving computers can mix different types of gases for you when you're diving really deep.
I would definitely replace this one with the new Apple Watch Ultra, and not the other one, just because the other one is for technical diving. So you can change gases while you're diving and do different things, which is not recreational diving anymore. So that's the only reason why.
Because when you're just going to 40 meters, you're able to just use regular air. But as soon as you get deeper than that, because you don't want to build up nitrogen, you have all these different things, you have to mix different gases. And those watches have like a special Bluetooth connection or something that will allow it to mix the gases for you.
So it's talking to the rest of your equipment.
Right. Where the Apple Watch Ultra does not currently talk to your equipment. He was saying that he's hoping that maybe at some point they might add integration.
I could see that. It could be like a Peloton situation where eventually they build the software in and maybe that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this Suno that he's wearing, is this a Sunto?
Yeah.
That's a watch he would wear all the time, or he only wears it diving?
Only diving.
Okay.
And so one of the most exciting things for him about the Apple Watch Ultra was that right now he has an Apple Watch Series 6, but he said he basically never uses it because he dives twice a day. And he always needs to either be using the Sunto or maybe one of the other watches that he has. And so he said, like, I just don't want to switch my watches all the time.
Yeah.
So and he doesn't use his Sunto out during the day because it looks like it doesn't really look like you're supposed to wear it. So he said something he's really excited for is that he can go do a diving session with some clients and then immediately get out and go meet his girlfriend for dinner. And it won't look totally ridiculous on his wrist. And you can use it for the regular Apple Watch stuff.
As you can imagine, I stopped using my Apple Watch right now because I needed to use this one. And I just didn't want to take it on and off all the time. But if I only have one device that I can use when I go out with my girlfriend to have a meal, and the next morning, and I use it to sleep, and then the next morning I come to work and I go diving and I don't need to take it off, it would be very, very good. I would appreciate it.
It'll look less ridiculous.
Yeah,
Less ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds like the ideal candidate for this watch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what EN 13319 certification is. They flashed it on the screen and I was like, huh, sounds official. Cool.
Yeah.
And I sort of moved on. I don't know what that, like, I don't know how many of these features or certifications are actually applicable to this, but I'll tell you what it reminds me of. When I went out to shoot the Ascension project with David Blaine, he was strapping a bunch of balloons to his arm and ascending upper into the atmosphere where the air gets much thinner, and he would have to monitor his blood oxygen levels.
Right.
And at a certain point during the pre-rehearsal, he was like, Marques, the new feature on the watch this year is a blood oxygen level sensor. Should I use that to like actually monitor my blood oxygen and then hopefully don't go hypoxic and pass out and die while strapped to the balloons?
I do not
Is that
want
something
to
I
give
should
you
do?
medical advice about this.
And that basically my reaction was, okay, it's cool that it can track that.
Yeah.
But I would use a dedicated watch that just does that,
Right.
because this is actually a matter of life and death, and I wouldn't want you to just, the watch glitched out. It turns out I'm going to die in a minute.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't wear that particular instrument as you come down and land and go off to a date. But the Apple Watch, if it worked well enough, could be reassuring, if it's giving you the right info. So that's what it reminds me of. I don't know how life and death some of these things are. The decompression times and all these things are obviously very important for diving, but
the switching gases, that's only usually used past 40 meters,
Yes.
you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't need other gases until you get into technical diving, which is past 40 meters.
Basically, in your tank, when you do recreational diving, you just have normal air compressed. So just compressed air, normal, taken from a compressor from the outside and put in a tank, is exactly as the air you're breathing right now. And technical diving, you might have different gases in your tank because you need to go more, for example, deeper. You need to stay longer at a certain depth. And the compression limit that I was talking before, if you exceed this number, let's say, then is also is considered technical diving.
It seems like, I think, to make that connection with what you're saying, it feels like the Apple Watch is fantastic for everyone who's doing and probably why they kept saying recreational, like you said.
Yeah.
If you're a professional doing technical diving, you're probably okay with pulling out the big guns that you're only using for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it honestly makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I think.
recreational is the perfect word for what Apple usually calls pro.
I was gonna say that, like, it seems interesting because Apple sort of marketed this as the, like, are you the most hardcore person in the world? But then they use the word recreational all the time during the keynote.
Yeah. It's like the edge between normal Apple Watch users and actual hardcore professionals with dedicated equipment is this blurry line of, like, I don't know. I do a triathlon in my city every weekend, but obviously the watch won't last the whole time. So I don't use the Apple Watch. Or like, oh, I do actually like do some pretty intense hikes pretty regularly every summer. And it would be cool if the watch could get waypoints, because as of this current time, I don't use the watch for anything. It's like that gray area.
It's like above average.
It's
not
above
pro,
average,
above average.
intense recreational, but not, 100 meters down scuba, like technical diving or like hiking Mount Everest. I don't think the mountains that they're showing in the keynote are necessarily the highest end, most extreme. I need 3 or 4 instruments on my wrist to keep track of if I'm going to die or not. But I believe it's like more intense than like a hike up the mountain in Hawaii or something.
Yeah. And it seems like they can do, like, the Apple Watch Ultra can do like 95% of what the most extreme of these sports need. It's just that 5% is very important when you're in the top part of it,
Makes sense.
But we're talking about, I don't know, 5% of the people that dive do technical diving. The other 95%, they just do diving when they go on holiday. Or they just do it if they live close to the sea or close to a lake or something like this. So technical diving is for very few people, and
but he was extremely excited about it. He said he is definitely going to get one.
Okay.
And he can see a lot of these selling, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see it.
For divers.
Yeah, but even for all of them, and for the same purpose as why GoPro sells so well, and we've made the comparison, is like, I have no doubt that it'll sell well. I want to see what the people who actually are using it, how they compare it. So I can't wait to see when he gets it and then compares it to his Sunto or whatever he's using.
Yeah, the Sunto he's using now is a few years old, he said, and it's $250.
I was going to ask, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also quite old. He said they can get up to about $800 to $1,000.
probably you can get this one, which is still okay right now. It's pretty old, but it's still okay for maybe 250 euros, so $300 or something like this. I have another one which I use just in particular cases. A very expensive one, and it's really big. It's like a big square on my wrist.
Wow, for a single-use watch.
250
Exactly.
is not crazy.
Yeah, but it's kind of old. It's like 3 to 4 years old, he said.
If it can mix gases and he trusts it to go
No, it
over-
can't mix
Oh,
gases.
it can't?
The Sunto cannot.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sunto is going to be completely replaced for him by the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch
Okay.
will do everything the Sunto does, and
Okay.
also a lot of other stuff.
Okay, cool.
Right. So, yeah, he was super stoked about it. He basically was like, for everything that I do on an everyday basis, this is going to work awesome.
I would definitely buy it.
All right,
So,
check in the box.
yep. All
All
right.
right. Who's next?
Do we want to do running or hiking?
I'm curious about the running. thing.
Running?
Yeah.
Okay. So we interviewed Hella. He actually has a YouTube channel. He ran across America recently. He runs every single day. He's on his like 1,500 and something day of running right now.
My name is Hella Sidibe, and I'm obsessed with running. I've been running every day since May 15th, 2017. And after I run today will be my day 1,946 consecutive days. I've missed a day. And I've also run across the U.S. I ran from Los Angeles, California to New York City, New York. And I just recently did my first 100-miler trail, ultra, elevation, whatever you name it.
The thing I found crazy, he finished his run across America, and then he ran the next day.
We met him at the Apple event.
guy's
Okay, when
insane.
someone runs across America like Forrest Gump, they're taking breaks every night and then just running a bunch of miles every day.
Yeah, he said
I
he was
guess?
running about 14
had an RV.
hours a day of running.
I'm spending 8 to 14 hours a day on my feet running.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did it in 68 days or something.
But this is just high level recreational. He's not a professional runner.
I don't know what that means.
I mean, if you're racing that's
He's
one
not
thing.
a sprinter. Yeah.
If you are running high level recreational way more than a normal person, which that sounds like he is, then maybe he's in that blurred area.
Yeah. I mean, he's not in the Olympics doing sprinting like 100Ks or whatever.
But he does run races, and he made sure to bring up that the Apple Watch Ultra does have some features specifically that would be good for competition.
Okay.
So some interesting features they're adding. They're doing track monitoring, detection, which is interesting. He said that would be possibly helpful for like training, but that he doesn't really run on a track. The main things that he's really excited about are things like the action button, because he mentioned that when he's running a lot, when he's running far distances, he sweats a ton. His fingers get sweaty. He's wiping sweat off of his forehead. And then when he's just trying to change things, it's all like soft touchscreen button based.
Yeah.
He like can't sometimes it doesn't register.
Can't relate.
Has problems.
Yep.
So having the physical buttons was really important for him.
If you're really running and you're tired, you're sweaty, sweats are getting in your eye, you find yourself doing this, the action button is very important. I think that's should be familiar with anybody active, whether you run or you're outdoor, trail, hiker, whatever it is, just making it simple.
The biggest thing though is like, so when he's about to run a race, like he's going to run a marathon or something, the Apple Watch, it's a very specific thing, but it has this countdown where you press start exercise and it goes, okay, we're starting. 3, 2, 1. And this guy wears 4 watches because he wants to compare all of them all the time and have the data on every single.
Intense.
He's
I like
intense.
this guy. Okay.
He wears 4 running watches. All of the other ones have a similar like action button thing. You press it, it goes. But this one, he's like, all right, on a marathon, I got to press it 3 seconds before they blow the horn.
Oh, God.
You see runners on the line right before a race. Everybody has their hands on their watch, right? To hit the start. But with Apple, you got to time it where 3, 2, 1 goes by the time they blow the horn or shoot the gun to go. So like when I was at New York City Marathon race start, when they were like 5, 4, I waited till I heard 3, then I hit start. So it counts down. So it starts exactly versus waiting till I hear 1. When I hear 1, I can just hit boom and then go. Those watches do that. Apple doesn't do that.
He also really likes the dual frequency GPS because he runs through cities, especially when he was doing his like across America thing. He was going through cities and stuff.
Yep.
When you're going through cities, the GPS is terrible.
Yeah.
And he loves his metrics.
I'm actually excited about the new GPS also as well, the L1 plus the L5, because now you can have accuracy when you're in buildings. And sometimes I will say, as much as I love the other watches, especially Garmin, the GPS sometimes when you're in a building, you're like, there's no way I'm running at this pace. You just know it with your feel. And you're like, Apple seems a little more what I feel like I'm running by feel right now, even though it's not picking up the GPS maybe as much as it should, but it is a little more on what you feel like your body's moving at that pace. So
Interesting.
Big thing he loved was the battery life expansion.
Actually, when I saw 36 hours, I was like, thank goodness. Like, that is big. And then when I saw the 60-hour extended potential battery, I was even like, whoa.
He basically said that like when he was running across America, and then he also did an ultra recently, which is about 100 miles. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Sick.
The watch obviously wouldn't last that long before.
So it took 27 hours, 44 minutes, and 9 seconds.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
He literally passed off the Apple Watch, the dead Apple Watch, to one of his teammates who was like driving alongside him. Mm-hmm. They took it, charged it for him, and put it back on him at like mile 60.
So 60.9 miles, 16 hours. That's when the Apple Watch did the 10% warning sign. So I left it with my crew at that point to charge it up, and I picked it up around mile 80 something to finish the race with. Yeah.
Yeah, because it takes a while to charge.
Yeah.
It would take like a full 40 minutes of however much running you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So he thinks that he would be able to do a full ultra with this, especially with the 60-hour low power mode.
Which is coming later this year.
We'll
have to check that out.
Yeah. But he was already just stoked about the 36 hours of normal usage because he said like 90% of the stuff he does on a day-to-day basis that will work for.
The biggest thing that was an issue with me with Apple Watch was the battery life, because as I got my runs longer and as I'm doing longer distance, ultra distance, the battery doesn't last as long. Even the run across America, I had to get a different watch because I don't have time to keep charging, and it's wasting time because I'm spending 8 to 14 hours a day on my feet running. So to wait an hour, 2 hours to charge the Apple Watch was taking daylight from me.
Which probably means 99% of most of what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, or like 99.9. Yeah.
I'm getting
Yeah.
the feeling, I'm getting the feeling that the Apple Watch Ultra can cover more close to the absolute maximum use case than it did in diving, in running. Like, what is the absolute peak, like critical information of like running and training? It's like, okay, I need to measure exact timing of things. It's a stopwatch. It's maybe GPS location and splits and pace and things like that. And like the watch is already really good at that. And now the dual frequency GPS will be better at it.
Battery life.
And battery life for long runs. And if it's good enough for this guy who's running 14 hours a day across the country, I don't see very many runners who need a separate, dedicated, even better running watch.
Yeah.
So that's tracking pretty well for me.
Right
That's
now,
a
there's
con.
like Garmin's and stuff that are also used for that. But he's like, I don't know. He said basically the only thing that Garmin and a couple of the other companies he uses has over the Apple Watch is mostly battery life, because those last for like weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So I run with Coros Apex Pro. That's one of them. And I did the Transcon with this, which is the Garmin Phoenix 6 Pro. And then this is the Wahoo Element Rival. And I will say this one does best with a battery because I can go 2 weeks without charging this.
But the diving was also like, it does most of the things that you want to do in recreational diving too. And the UI is way better. So
Yeah.
I think the edge case might be a little bit wider because there are probably more technical divers than there are people that the Apple Watch Ultra is not enough for them for running.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. You can go beyond the diving capabilities of this watch, but it's really hard, it sounds like, to go beyond the running capabilities of this watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marques.
I was going to say, is he going to get one or not?
Oh yeah, he said he's absolutely.
He was at the
getting one.
event. We talked to him for.
Oh, and he's going to get one.
Yeah.
They're sending him one, but he said he would absolutely. He was going to buy one anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah.
This doesn't really have to do with his running per se, but one thing he said that I thought was kind of interesting is that when he's, he talked a lot about how most of the other running watches don't function well as a straight up smartwatch, which didn't matter a ton to him, but he appreciated that if you're out wearing a Coro or something like that, and it's like a clear running watch, people look at him and go, oh, you're a serious runner.
If you see a Coro on my hand, you might think, oh, he's an active person. He probably runs, or a Garmin. He's probably. But if you see an Apple Watch, you might not even guess that. You might just be like, oh, he just like to have an Apple Watch in his wrist to have time. Maybe use it when he needs to. But it's like a sleeper. Because you might think you can guess who I am, what I am, but you never know because I can be either or. So that's also fun.
And he likes that if he's wearing the Apple Watch, people won't all of a sudden assume all these things about him. He said it's kind of like a sleeper and it's fun because people don't really know like what he's about.
Yeah.
For now. I think that might change when the commercials show up on TV, but for now, that's an interesting.
Yeah. Some of the other things too was that he really likes the compass and he really likes the waypoints, because that was the other feature that one of the other watches had was if you were like going on a run that was basically also kind of a hike because you're running through a forest or something and you're doing trail running.
Sure.
Yeah. He said that another one of his watches has a literal like map that shows you like which direction to go. Whereas some watches are just like go in this general direction, And so like having the unlimited waypoints that you can just drop with the action button if you want to, and then having it be able to guide you back to each individual waypoint or just do it backwards.
Yeah.
Like it'll just take you back the same way.
Backtrack.
He really, really liked.
But I have a reroute, like bring me back on the Garmin Coros. I just hit the Garmin one and you see yourself on the path of the map. So I think that's really cool. It's not a compass can help, but like seeing yourself on an actual path, I think that's very important.
Also the 68 decibel like emergency
86.
sound. 86?
It's
86.
so loud.
86.
I heard it in person. It's very loud.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's pretty good.
Yeah. He was pretty excited about that because he was like, I just feel like that if I'm running in the middle of a forest and I trip and like break my leg.
It's a good peace of mind.
It's a good peace of mind thing.
Sure.
So he was extremely stoked about this thing. He was going on, I think we talked to him for like 45 minutes.
But it had one thing that I love, that pinging SOS. If it's a fire station, whatever area, they can be like, this person needs help. Like they can they can tell that this is like I need help kind of noise.
He was so amped.
Have you ever used a compass?
Me?
Like really used a compass? I haven't.
on like long hikes, there are moments where you know a general direction you're going is supposed to be one way. So when you come to like a trail that's not marked very well, like it could be beneficial to think like, I know in general I'm supposed to be heading north. This trail that looks like it's heading east is probably wrong. And I just like the extra like knowledge of that just like makes you feel a little better knowing you're probably going in the correct direction.
Got it. I'm exposing how little trail hiking.
I think it's like when you go a little deeper into the wilderness and like things are 10 plus miles, it helps.
Okay.
I'm not really an outdoorsy person, but my watch has a compass built in, and I use it all the time when I'm getting off the subway in Manhattan.
Oh.
And I know I need to walk north from this stop.
Wow, that's really
so
smart.
as I'm going up the stairs, I can be like, that's north.
That's actually probably
dope.
going to be the
Like,
number one use
New
of
York
compass
City
for me.
completely like uptown, downtown. Sometimes you have to walk like half a block.
Yeah,
to
because
know
the
which
GPS
direction.
is so bad in cities.
You're like, walk 1 block north, and you're like, okay, well, what is that? You just check your watch.
The double 360 to get your iPhone compass.
You pick
to
the wrong way
engage
every
in-
time. It's like USB.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
immediately walk the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
cool.
sounds like we should talk about the last one, which is hiking.
Yes.
All right.
So for hiking, we talked to someone named Guillermo, and he hikes in Mexico all the time. He does like really intense mountaineering throughout different mountains in Mexico.
Well, my name is Guillermo. I'm based in Mexico City. Professionally, I'm an environmental engineer, so I work on environment-related stuff. And as a hobby, I love mountain hiking, so I've been doing that for almost 3 years now. It started as a hobby, kind of like a pandemic hobby, I guess, early in the pandemic when everything was closed. And I started going out on the mountains, and it has gotten pretty serious in the past year.
Generally, he does like single day hikes, but he has done multi-day hikes as well. And he was pretty amped on it as well, specifically like for a lot of the same reasons as the running stuff, specifically like trail running kind of stuff. Waypoints. Super excited about the waypoints.
Also, the fact that you can track like your route and add set points to it, that's really useful in case you're doing hiking someplace you don't know.
The backtracking back to your spot.
Yep.
Really, really, really useful. The same like 86 decibel thing, you're a lot more likely to get potentially very injured, like going on a mountain. Yeah. So that's super important, especially since there can be multiple trails. And so if someone's not on your specific trail, but they're on a different trail, they can still hear your emergency thing going off.
This alarm or siren that goes off, or that you can just click a button and have the alarm sound for, and it can be heard around 200 meters from where you are. That's really interesting.
Same battery life thing. It's like,
Yeah.
if I'm doing a 1.5-day hike or a 2-day hike, this will actually last.
Within the mountain hiking people, you don't see a lot of Apple Watch on the mountain because battery life just sucks. I was really excited about the bump in battery life. 36 hours, I think, is more than enough for, not professional, but kind of people that are more into mountain hiking and that, tend to be in the mountain for a whole day. I guess that 36 hours will be enough.
Is there a
Which is
previous like type of watch that someone doing these hikes was most likely to
It
use?
seems like Garmin kind of wins the running and the hiking and apparently also the scuba diving category right now.
It's my smartwatch. It's a Garmin Forerunner 645. I bought it in late 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And it has been my best friend since for, hiking and keeping track of everything.
Garmin's quaking.
Right. When we did that episode last week or the week before, and we were like, is this the Garmin killer? I think Garmin's actually freaking out.
Well, Garmin sort of stepped a little bit, funny enough, down into smartwatches like a year ago or earlier this year. And so I think that was a little bit of foresight of them going, when Apple steps up into a more sports-focused watch, that's going to take a bite out of our watch stuff. So we need to step in first. So that was interesting to see. Garmin's the name I definitely see the most in this type of stuff. Yeah.
I don't think that, they need to be completely afraid because, again, the Apple Watch only works with iPhones. And the rest of the world, iPhones are not nearly as popular as they are in the US.
Massive point.
So it actually might be to Apple's advantage at some point to allow some sort of linkage between an Android phone and an Apple Watch Ultra.
Wasn't there a feature? Maybe it was just the SE. Wasn't there a thing where you could just get a new family member just a watch?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was if you already have an iPhone.
Yeah,
or
it's
you
for
already
like
have.
kids, I think.
That was the SE like cellular, and it gave
Yeah.
you like some basic. I don't know if it's gonna go do waypoints and stuff
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
the calculus they need to do now is basically like, is people wanting this watch going to also drive the sale of iPhones, or is it the other way around? Because like I could like all of these people told me the Apple Watch Ultra is going to replace my dedicated thing, except for my super crazy dedicated thing for the like top 1% of what we do.
Right.
So it sounds like they're going to sell a lot, but again, only to iPhone users, which is kind of a weird calculus, right?
Yeah. Do you see Apple ever changing that? I don't really see them.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not, but
It's always gonna
AirPods
be like-
also work with Android phones, so there's that. But I guess they're Bluetooth, and that's more of a standard.
That's the simplest version. But like, as soon as you get into the watch level of complication, then you end up with like, it's more of a beacon to come over to this side of the wall in the walled garden. Like, oh, would you like to use this cool watch? Well, come over here where the iPhones live. Oh, would you like to make FaceTime calls? Or here's like a little web version for Android, but like, come over here. It's nicer over here.
Yeah.
So,
but internationally, it could be kind of hard for Apple to like move people over to an iPhone just to be able to get the $800 watch,
right?
You know, so could be a thing to think about. Did you guys have any questions about any of the specific sports?
Well, I'm just fascinated. I know that they showed a lot of sports in the presentation. They had the Ironman, which is like there's biking in there, swimming, running, obviously trail running, hiking, climbing, diving, all this stuff. So as someone who only does a small fraction of that, it's cool to see that this is actually pretty promising.
I went on YouTube channels of like each of these different extreme sports, like the biggest people that do each of these sports, and pretty much all of them have a video about the Watch Ultra. Which
that seems like the perfect enthusiast recreational group.
Yeah, seems like it's. And I think that Garmin and Suunto need to actually start getting nervous. So
they're definitely thinking about it. They're thinking about the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Sick. All right. Well, definitely stay tuned. I do plan on eventually reviewing the Apple Watch Ultra. And of course, I'll go through practice with it. I'll try to get it muddy and see what happens. But until then, that's it for this episode. That's it for this week.
For this episode.
Well, we do have one more trivia thing to do.
No, we have answers, right?
Or whiteboards.
Are
we finally revealing?
Spoiler.
Are we going to reveal the whiteboards yet? I think.
Yeah, we are. Take them out, everybody.
Here we go. I think that one's mine.
Is it yours?
Now, introducing the new Waveform Media podcast, Whiteboards, made by our friends at D-Brand. These are the hottest non-products of the fall. You can't buy them, but you can stare at them beautifully on our video podcast. Now, introducing a new level of fairness into Waveform trivia, for now and forever.
That was... The timing on that was impeccable.
Thank you.
That was the best promo.
I was waiting so long to hear the full version of that song.
Yeah.
That was good.
Only for special moments.
I have the beta tested whiteboard that doesn't have the waveform thing on top. We should really get 4 of these. Probably a good idea.
This is good. Look at this. Hold on. I'm gonna write a word. See that? So you can like read what I wrote and then wow, it worked.
Look at
Literally
that.
everything is debranded. The pens, the erasers.
This is kind of next level. Okay, I'm ready for we get to write our answer.
So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to reread the question. All of you are going to write your answer on the whiteboard.
Okay.
And then one by one, you're going to flip your boards around and read the answer you wrote aloud.
Also, make sure when you flip, do not flip like this. Flip like this.
Right side up. Okay. Is there a time limit to how long I have to write? 15 seconds or something.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
A rough 15,
We'll
pitch
play with it.
All right, let's do the softball one first. So, before Ford intervened, what word was the Tesla lineup supposed to spell out? David, why don't you flip it around first, right at the camera? For the audio listeners, what does that say?
Can the camera even see this? I don't know if I can see it.
You got to write bold letters.
It's
Oh, that's out of focus if you hold it too far forward.
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, we can crop in on you. What does it say?
Yeah. Sexy.
Correcto.
Wonderful. Andrew? Another sexy.
Say it out loud.
sexy, yeah.
There's my answer right there. Sexy.
Oh, and even pointed at the
So
three.
And
I feel like my confusion was the Ford interrupting it.
So Ford has a
Model
patent
3.
on the on
That's
Model E.
Model E.
From
Oh, yeah,
Mach-E.
Model E.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So they
So-
couldn't use E, so they did 3 instead.
So
But
it's
the Model
Okay.
3 was supposed to be called the Model E.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, David.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why
there was
why isn't it?
because
'Cause-
Ford sued them.
Yeah, you can't use.
Oh, sorry, Model 3. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Ignore that. I thought you meant the Ford model, the Mach-E, not the Model 3.
But wait, no. Now there's Cybertruck and Roadster, so now it's S3 XY Roadster.
They ruined it.
It's Cybertruck, semi-truck, RCS.
Sexy
RCS.
Sexy
Sexy RCS.
Oh my God!
Now you know
Now you know.
the real plan for Elon this whole time. was to
Elon
bring-
loves Google.
bring RCS back.
Amazing.
Elon loves Google.
All right.
All right, question number 2. In June of 2021, Apple began offering the ability to stream lossless audio on Apple Music. Which model of AirPods are able to play Apple Music lossless audio?
Okay. I've written my answer.
All right. Marquez, you want to flip around first this time?
Sure. Here's my answer.
AirPods 2.
AirPods 2. Oh, that's the wrong number.
Andrew, you want to give it a shot?
I have AirPods Max with wire.
Oh, wow.
David, you want to?
That's so annoying.
If I don't have that answer, do I lose?
Still got to flip
Yes.
it around.
AirPods 3. Wow.
All right.
Maybe.
This
we
one-
never know. We'll come back
This
to that in a
one
year.
was supposed to be a trick question because the answer is actually none of them.
What?
Because
Wait.
lossless audio over Bluetooth is a thing that only Qualcomm chips can do. But Andrew came through with the wire. AirPods Pro Max can in fact
AirPods
do. Are they not Pro Max?
No, they're just
AirPods Max.
Oops.
Is it just?
Can
Is it any service?
Yeah, it's
guess.
any service. Anytime you're using wireless headphones, you are listening to lossy audio.
I just want to note though that to do lossless with the wire with the AirPods Max, you have to do a Lightning to USB-C, and then either USB-C into the computer or USB-C to
headphone jack.
adapter.
Yeah.
No, don't they come with a lightning?
It's a lightning to headphone
Yeah.
jack.
No
one-
lightning to lightning. Oh, do they come
No,
with
there's
the
a lightning
headphone
to jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Does it
do.
come with that cable?
But yeah, you're right that your iPhone.
Wait, they come with the
doesn't-
Lightning to headphone jack adapter?
Because the
No,
iPhone doesn't
but-
have a headphone jack.
Yeah, but the iPhone doesn't have a headphone jack, so
This is so dumb.
Yeah. So the headphones are lightning and the phone is lightning, but there is no lightning.
Yeah,
to
but you can
lightning.
listen to AirPods Max on things other than an iPhone.
Wait, there's
but
no
you can't
Lightning to
use Apple
Lightning?
Music.
Yeah.
You can't. You can only use Apple Music on a Mac or a.
Yeah, on a Mac.
So
Oh, on a Mac. But
either
like-
way, Andrew still beat my trick question.
Why wouldn't they
So-
do Lightning to Lightning so that you could directly connect to your...
Yeah.
They hate us.
I guess they just really don't want people to plug in.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Which is funny because we were plugged in at Apple Campus for the
Yeah. Oh.
for the podcast with
right,
irony.
like a
with
super
Max.
long cable. I didn't see the
The-
other end.
It
of
was
the
there was a
Irony.
connector in behind it. Yeah.
Wow.
I almost pulled it out.
Don't
Delete
see that
that.
happen. Well, the more you know. Well, that was fun. We got our points. I'm falling behind now.
Dang, Andrew.
Yeah. Final score: Marquez 7, David 4, Andrew 9.
Am I for
I
it
think-
because I just haven't been on enough shows?
What?
Like, did we balance my...
No, these are unbalanced
Oh,
scores.
Wow.
we don't have your shoot percentage. We don't have your make percentage, but you have your total makes. So that's
wow.
that's pretty. 4 is pretty good. Anyway,
Bummer.
well, that was been. I'm glad we did the whiteboard thing. Shout out to the comments that suggested this as a way to actually.
Oh yeah. YouTube username Burn.
Yeah.
This was your idea. You had this idea in late May, so it took us a while, but here we are, baby.
I hope that you're watching again.
We did it Apple style. We took a minute and we properly executed on the idea.
And thank you for to dbrand for
Yes. For
Always.
executing on
for
the
everything.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
And thank you to Tim for making the design.
Oh yeah, and Tim for designing.
Tim
them.
helped design it.
These are beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I can't wait for more trivia questions. We should do just a trivia episode where we just rack up.
Oh
the
my God,
points.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a plan for
I've
that.
done that
already.
before, right?
Okay, perfect. Well, until the next one, thanks for watching and thanks for listening to this episode. It's still Techtember, so there's a lot more around the corner and a lot more to get into in the tech world. It's a good time to be a nerd. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
Waveform is produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Rovin. We are partnered with Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro outro music was created by Vane Sill.